Pokémon fan games have been around for decades, and while every Pokémon enthusiast knows the existence of them, many hesitate when it comes to giving them a try. I surely was one of these people, but after playing Pokémon Bushido, I was in for more, and in today's video I wish to share my experience and thoughts on Pokémon Phoenix Rising. First things first, roll the intro. As I made very clear in this channel in countless videos, I am a Pokémon fan that dislikes Game Freak's direction when it comes to making the mainline series. For that reason, I wanted to take a step back, and rather than to play the new mainline title, I wish to experience fan creations that may or may not tackle some of the issues I have with the Pokémon company. In today's video, I'll be reviewing Pokémon Phoenix Rising, a fan game developed by Gav and his team, an ambitious game that twists the premise of Pokémon in a curious manner. Before I start this review, however, it is important that I make clear that no, these are not the same developers of Pokémon Bushido, and the game is theoretically still incomplete. Only the first chapter is out, version 1.5.1. Without any premises, let us get started. Once again, we see a fun game adopting the letter DS style graphics, running in RPG Maker XP, a choice virtually every fan game I've seen seems to have taken. The game can be directly run on the PC without the need of an emulator, but for what I've gathered, the game only currently runs on Windows PC. I said this once, but I'll say it again. The engine chosen does not disappoint, and the pixelated charm of Pokémon is alive and well in this title. Pokémon Phoenix Rising has a fairly traditional story. You're a teen who came to age and is ready to start an adventure across the land, this time in the Hawthorne Region. The region itself doesn't have a strong unique theme per se, but all towns and routes across the journey are splendidly designed and very inspired. Towns like Tranquillo, Onde and Sonata, as well as points of interest like Arrieta Forest, are astonishing and in par if not higher than the mainline titles. If you were wondering, yes, all of the names I've read out loud are Italian. I have no idea why half of the locations in the game have Italian or Latin names, but who am I to complain? Certainly not an Italian YouTuber, that's for sure. Anyways, going back on track. After the usual Pokémon Professor intro, the game kicks off with one of its most interesting mechanics, quests. Phoenix Rising introduces a role-play mechanic by excellence that Pokémon has neglected for decades, an organized explicit quest system. Quests work exactly as you can imagine and make the game's fruition smoother, since when in doubt, you can always check what you're up for. And speaking of choosing what to do, Rising also offers the player some freedom when it comes to designing the outcome of certain quests. In other words, there are options for the player to choose with rewards, consequences and repercussions throughout the adventure. In the first and by now only chapter of the game, choices are not that detrimental, yet the concept of having them in a Pokémon game is curious to say the least. The choice that is more familiar to older Pokémon fans is of course the starters, and oddly enough the 3 Pokémon to choose from are quite diverse from the usual picks. Sure, we're still speaking about a grass fire water trio, but this time with Petilil, Growlithe and Staryu, all Pokémon with only one evolution and found in the wild in previous titles. Do not fear however, since the team will provide all 3 very sharp Mega Evolutions down the line. Going back to the game structure, apart from the above mentioned quests, the plot is fairly standard. There are no chains but a single objective, to reach the prestigious Trinita University. And yes, that's another Italian name. Of course during the adventure there will be some detours, but the premise, at least for the first chapter, is to reach this location. The game is linear and routes are structured similar to other mainline games. Battle-wise, the game does not present any new mechanics like we've seen in Pokémon Bushido, but there are new Pokémons, or rather, regional variations. The relic Pokémons have an important role when it comes to the plot, and while these are not too common in the wild, they can be found, caught and trained as regular Pokémon. The game definitely has a theme here, with all relic Pokémons having that medieval warrior style as you can see from the artwork and in-game. Now this may not look too impressive, but keep in mind that the game was announced way back. The subreddit for it has existed since 2015, meaning that having regional variety was a novelty, not a standard like today. The art style as already introduced is splendid, and the new trainers, mainly the main characters, are extremely well designed. The 2D sprites of both the characters as well as their artwork are delightful, and I wish to congratulate all the artists who have worked and are working on the game. There are some other minor quality of life improvements Pokémon Phoenix does in comparison to the mainline titles, mainly the ability to switch your first Pokémon off the party without opening the menu, having a day-night cycle that takes place even during the battles, multiple save files, an integrated Nuzlocke mode, and the ability to change difficulty. On this latter edition, I do need to say that I've tried and experienced a higher level of challenge than usual, not only with a basic enemies are stronger because they're stronger, but more in the subtle way that the main trainers wield less predictable strategies. The first quote-unquote boss of the game really threw me off the first time I faced him. Some final additions or things the game brings back are Pokémon following the player, the Pokéshop, that is basically a Pokéwatch, and redesign for some of the recurring characters and places such as the Pokécenter. All these small additions surely make the difference and make Pokémon Phoenix Rising stand apart from other major Pokémon titles, while keeping that vibe DS Pokémon games had. The only inconvenience I had while playing the game was the frame rate. The game in full screen would gradually start lagging while playing, and even if turning off other applications and restarting the game would alleviate this problem, it would not solve it. From what I found in the internet, I'm not the only one with this issue, and I bet the developers just need to optimize the game further to get rid of any drawbacks in the technical regard. Overall, I had a blast while playing Pokémon Phoenix Rising. This game is a demonstration that Fangames and romhacks can compete and even perhaps surpass the original creations. It is wonderful to see that even without budget, the sole passion that drives its creations is enough to bring on the table a nice experience for everyone to enjoy. You may be wondering why I did not mention the length of the game yet, even if I was pretty upfront about it in the review of Pokémon Bushido. The reason why I'll bring it now is the reason why the game is yet to be one of the greatest fan games ever released. Unfortunately, the first chapter of the game only lasts about 5 to 6 hours, with the final party at about level 20. I said this many times, the length of a game is not a defect, especially when you consider the game is free, but unfortunately, due to the short length of the adventure, many of the ideas proposed do not have time to develop properly. There are choices to be made, but they seem to have virtually no impact due to the missing chapters. Furthermore, the relic Pokémons are few and far in between, and you only found about them midpoint your adventure. The plot is interesting, but so far pretty standard, and only scratching the potential it has. It really needs more chapters to develop. I will of course not dive into spoilers, but just so you know, you will encounter many characters along your journey, but since the recurrence is so low, there is little to work with for the player when it comes to getting attached to the cast. All characters have cool designs and will definitely play a bigger role in the adventure, but not all of them do just so yet. The point I'm making is that Pokémon Phoenix Rising is not a full game, and thus many of the ideas it has, while wonderful, are executed in a sort of proof of concept, rather than a complete odyssey. The game does not need to last 40+ hours in order to be complete. 2 or 3 chapters more and I would already define the game as a masterclass, but in the state it is now, it's quote-unquote simply the first chapter of something greater that has to come. Unfortunately, the latest version I've played and talked about in today's video is the last one released, and it has been for the past 4 years. I checked the team's Discord, and while the community seems to be active, I did not see many updates on the progress of the game. These people are working on their free time, so it is more than fair that they take all the time they need to release the second chapter. Nevertheless, before jumping to the conclusion, I wish to remark on the achievements listed in this review and the positives of the fan game. Pokémon Phoenix Rising may be a proof of concept, a demo, but is still nonetheless 6 hours of fascinating locations, frenetic battles and flourishing potential. I will recommend this fun game to everyone who likes Pokémon. Full stop. Pokémon Phoenix Rising has a high status among Pokémon fan games for its complex simplicity and charming cities with Italian names. I definitely had a wonderful time playing Pokémon Phoenix Rising, and I'm sure that when the second chapter will be released, fans will rush to give this game a second life. If any of the devs are watching this video, I wish you the very best, and I thank you for giving us players a wonderful Pokémon fan game free of charge. Making a game must be challenging, but be assured that the first chapter did an amazing job at introducing us to your vision of Pokémon Phoenix Rising. If you made it this far, I wish to thank you one too many Phoenix time for watching today's video. Before closing off, I wish to thank everyone who watched the previous review I made of Pokémon Bushido. I have a small YouTube channel, so to see 1000 views in a day and receive a comment from the creator of the game is truly an honor. I'm very grateful for it. Lugs, if you're watching this video too, keep up the good work, and I can't wait to play your future project, Pokémon Elysium. Having said that, do not forget to leave this video a like, share it and subscribe for more. And as usual, have a wonderful day. Arrivederci.